My name is Rada Daniel. I'm a Palestine solidarity activist with the International Women's Peace Service, whom I will refer to as IWPS, and I belong to the Walton Forest Palestine Solidarity Campaign in London, UK. The aim of this video is to report back on 2 months volunteering with IWPS at the 2019 Palestinian olive harvest in the West Bank, which I have been doing regularly for the last decade. IWPS is the only all-women international peace team of human rights volunteers working in the Palestinian-occupied West Bank. We peacefully support the Palestinian resistance and their call for boycott, divestment and sanctions, or BDS, by assisting each year in the Palestinian olive harvest. Through observation and documentation, we believe it is vitally important to report back and publicize how the Palestinian farmers are incrementally being ousted from their land by illegal Israeli settlers supported by the Israeli military. This remains widely unreported by the mainstream media in our countries. Growing olives is a major part of Palestinian culture, identity and economy, and it symbolizes the generations who have lived on their land over the centuries. There are around 10 million olive trees on Palestinian olive farms, some from Roman times, a couple of millennia old, that provide livelihood for many and is the only income for about 15% of Palestinian women. Traditionally, the season of olive harvest has been a time of joy, when families get together on their land to work hard and enjoy themselves. Olive harvest food is prepared under the olive trees and is something Palestinian families talk about and look forward to all year round. This last harvest in 2019 looked very promising. An 84% yield, higher than in the previous year, was predicted. The Israeli occupation affects Palestinians in so many ways, and amongst the many realities of the occupation, the illegal settlements stand out as a major cause of much injustice and brutality affecting the life of each and every Palestinian. Today, in 2020, between 600,000 and 750,000 Israelis live in these sizable settlements beyond the internationally recognized borders of their state, comprising East Jerusalem and the West Bank on Palestinian land that Israel occupied in 1967. IWPS is based in a rural area in the Salfit district, in the north part of the West Bank, about halfway between the cities of Ramallah and Nablus, which is surrounded by ever-growing illegal Israeli settler colonies. The growing number of illegal Israeli settlements here now outnumber that of Palestinian historical villages. There are 24 settlements and 18 villages. Why is IWPS based in Salfit? The context is important here. IWPS chose to have a presence in order to witness events. This massive land grab is progressively being carried out by intimidation and destruction, breaching the human rights of the Palestinians, but attracts little attention internationally. On the UN map of settlements in Salfit, all shades of purple and blue are areas illegally taken for the settlements, and the yellow parts are what is left to the Palestinians for now. Salfit is of critical importance to Israel. This is where Israel plans to cut the north of the West Bank in two by merging many illegal Salfit settlements with the already existing Israeli agricultural settlements in Jordan Valley. The Israeli occupation authorities impose a plethora of rules and permits designed to keep Palestinian farmers away from their land and ensure that they have minimal harvest time. The land of the farmer in the photo, who is from Jit village, near the illegal Kedumin settlement, was covered in high grass because he was not allowed to cut it in spring. When we were there at the end of November, he was trying to negotiate with the soldiers so he could bring a tractor to mow around his olive trees. Many farmers can only access their olive groves once a year, and because they cannot look after and maintain their trees, it often results in a meager harvest. Even when farmers get an agreement from the soldiers to access their land, they are frequently sent back from their fields under different pretexts, or are just given too little time to complete the job. Driving is banned if olive trees are anywhere near the settlements. To reach their fields, farmers have to walk long distances, carrying heavy harvesting equipment, and then carry everything back, as well as the bags of harvested olives. The illegal wall Israel has been building cuts deep inside Palestinian land, separating farmers from their fields. In the Tulkarem area, access is through 77 agricultural gates, only 55 of them being open during harvest season. IWPS attended protests outside one of these gates, which was to be opened for just 15 minutes each morning for the farmers to get in, but soldiers frequently kept it closed, leaving farmers waiting in vain. A gate near Jayus village looked more like an entrance into a high-security prison manned by heavily armed soldiers. IWPS believes that our presence is most valuable in the areas known for violence against the harvesters or destruction of the olive trees and the land. And we prioritize such locations when we are deciding where to send our teams. During the olive harvest, IWPS volunteers accompany Palestinian farmers to their olive groves. We pick olives with them, hoping to provide protective presence against the attacks and harassment by the Israeli occupation soldiers and illegal settlers. As well as actively helping with the harvest, we work hard to spread the word about what we have seen and experienced in every way possible. Olive Harvest 2019, compared to many I have participated in, involved the most violent incidents I have witnessed. Almost all locations were dangerous, and it was hard to choose where to go to be most of use. During this last olive harvest, Palestinian and international harvesters were attacked and injured, arrested and repeatedly denied access to the olive groves. Hundreds of olive trees were burned and cut down in several occasions, and some farmers were completely denied access to their land. Some farmers decide to abandon the harvest rather than risk lives of their family members. To date, 1.2 million Palestinian olive trees have been willfully destroyed irreparably. Century-old trees burned or cut down in advance of illegal Israeli land claim. If harvesters are attacked or trees set on fire, as shown on these photos, help never materializes in time to save anything, the majority of damage being done after dark. Increasingly, Israeli settlers have been brazenly sabotaging the Palestinian olive groves, with the army simply standing guard. as well as the routine army and settler aggression which comes with the occupation, there are numerous obstacles Palestinian farmers face which make the annual olive harvest unpredictable and dangerous. For many Palestinians, resistance is the only choice. For us, the international solidarity supporters, Palestinian resilience is an inspiration. Going to Palestine, making friends and sharing their lives, even for short periods of time, is a privilege and an opportunity to publicize the injustice being done to the Palestinian people. Each year, Palestinians have less and less of their land to live on and olives to harvest. Millions are still refugees living in refugee camps in the region and around the world. The maps of disappearing Palestine illustrate the impact of the land grab. Regrettably, UK and other Western governments have mostly chosen to turn a blind eye to the situation and sometimes even side with the oppressor. It is vitally important to realize that the brutality of the Israeli occupation exists and illegal land procurement is happening right now, and the Palestinians continue to pay with their lives and livelihoods. I hope that each person who sees this will have learned something and will find a way, individually or collectively, to be proactive and support a just solution for Palestinians and all who live in that region.
تبلو